An Ohio hospital system says one of its own former doctors prescribed significantly excessive and potentially fatal doses of a powerful drug to dozens of patients who later died.
4:20 a.m., Columbus, Ohio. The parking lot of the private hospital sat in complete silence, illuminated only by the dull hum of streetlights reflecting off the rain-soaked pavement. To the few cars passing on the nearby highway, it appeared to be a place of healing at rest. Inside, night shift nurses moved quietly through the halls, monitoring patients, checking charts, and preserving the calm. But outside, beyond the perimeter fence and hidden in the shadows, the silence was about to be shattered. Dozens of black tactical vehicles from the FBI, DEA, and ICE had surrounded the building. There were no sirens, no flashing lights. Surprise was the only advantage they had against a network that had operated without consequence for 9 years. The target wasn't a street gang or a warehouse. It was the hospital administration itself. At 4:21 a.m., the command was given. Execute. Federal agents stormed through the main entrance, boots slamming against the polished linoleum floors. Federal agents, stay where you are. The voices were sharp, controlled, and absolute. In seconds, the atmosphere shifted from a place of care to a zone of threat. Nurses froze. Security guards stepped back with their hands raised. The agents didn't stop at reception. Moving with military precision, they advanced straight to the second floor, bypassing patient wards entirely. Their target was the administrative wing, specifically the office of the hospital director, 48-year-old Amina Hassan. A steel battering ram struck the heavy oak door. Wood splintered. The metal frame bent. The door collapsed inward.
Law enforcement leaders have issued a bulletin to drug task forces across the state of Ohio to be on the lookout.
Inside, the office appeared ordinary. Family photographs lined the desk. Fresh flowers sat neatly in a vase. Certificates of excellence covered the walls. But behind that calm, professional image was something far darker. Agents pushed a heavy bookshelf aside, revealing a concealed wall safe. Cutting tools tore through the thick steel. When the door finally swung open, the air in the room changed. Inside were not medical records or personnel files. There were 12 kilograms of fentanyl, sealed into solid blocks and stacked like cash. Beside them sat a loaded pistol and multiple encrypted communication devices. This operation proved that the threat to the nation doesn't always look like a criminal. Sometimes it looks like a professional. If you support the brave men and women of ICE and the FBI who go wherever the evidence leads to protect us, hit the like button and comment what I say below. Let's show them we stand with them. Minutes later, Director Amina Hassan was escorted from her office. She was still wearing her white lab coat, a symbol of trust she had allegedly turned into a disguise for mass murder. Nurses and staff stood in stunned silence as the woman they reported to was led away in handcuffs. For 9 years, she had been a pillar of the community. But the raid revealed her hospital wasn't just healing the sick. It was hiding a nightmare. As the investigation unfolded over the next several hours, the true scale of the horror began to surface. This wasn't merely a drug stash. It was a harvesting ground. Financial records and surveillance logs showed that for nearly a decade, fentanyl and heroin entered the hospital every 7 days, disguised as legitimate medical supplies. Staff were trained never to say the word drugs. Instead, they used the coded phrase special weight loss medicine. Small white bottles moved quietly from room to room, handed to unsuspecting patients. Each contained enough fentanyl to devastate an entire neighborhood. The hospital ordered 10 times more supplies than a facility of its size could ever justify.
President Trump is escalating the federal response to fentanyl tonight, signing a new executive order to reclassify the drug.
Midnight shipments arrived with flawless labeling, sterile gloves, surgical gowns, laboratory equipment. But inside the boxes were bricks of pure poison. Yet the drugs were only half the story. The most terrifying discovery waited behind a set of double doors that didn't exist on any official blueprint. Beyond them, agents found a hidden corridor leading to a secret surgical ward. It was fully equipped: bright lights, stainless steel tables, surgical instruments. There were no recovery rooms. Analysts reviewing seized files uncovered a grim ledger. 315 surgeries had been performed here over 9 years. The victims were the forgotten: elderly patients with no close relatives, homeless individuals seeking shelter, accident victims sedated before they could speak. They were chosen because no one would ask questions if they vanished. The system was engineered to make murder appear legal. Patients were marked as critical upon arrival. Within an hour, falsified paperwork declared them unlikely to survive. 2 signatures, a doctor and a manager, were all it took to approve emergency organ donation. Many victims never regained consciousness. Records listed bodies only by numbers. No names, no families, no consent. At the loading dock, agents discovered refrigerated containers labeled donated material, emergency.
We're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
Inside were human organs wrapped in plastic and packed in ice, ready for transport. These weren't bound for transplant centers to save lives. They were destined for the black market, flowing through cartel routes linked to CJNG and Sinaloa. A place meant to heal had learned how to make death look official. Human beings had been turned into commodities. We are continuing to expose the specific doctors and officials who signed these death certificates. To stay updated and see the full list of those revealed, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The discovery of the 12 kilograms of fentanyl in the secret operating area sent shockwaves through the command center. But as agents secured the hospital, new reports came in from the perimeter. The network wasn't confined to the building, was trying to escape. Once Amina Hassan was in custody, agents realized the hospital was only the head of the snake. Maps inside the federal command room lit up with targets across Ohio. Clinics, warehouses, and transport hubs tied to the same operation. The order came down, strike everywhere at once. Near the rear exit of the hospital grounds, a refrigerated delivery truck suddenly roared to life. The driver, realizing the raid was underway, panicked. Smoke poured from the exhaust as he slammed the accelerator, smashing through a security gate and racing toward the highway. Two federal SUVs surged forward, sirens finally screaming, blocking the exit ramp at the last possible second. Tires shrieked against the asphalt. The truck fishtailed, slammed into the guardrail and ground to a halt. Agents surrounded the vehicle with weapons drawn.
In response to growing concerns over an alarming surge in drug-related deaths and overdoses, especially fentanyl, President of the Ohio Prosecuting Association.
When they forced the cargo doors open, they found boxes stuffed with cash and sealed medical coolers. Inside the coolers were not medicines, but freshly harvested organs from that night's operations, minutes away from disappearing into the interstate supply chain. At the same time, a warehouse near the river erupted into violence. Armed men guarding the cartel's logistics hub opened fire as federal teams approached. Bullets ripped into the metal siding. Sparks exploded from the concrete floor. The federal response was overwhelming. A flashbang detonated through a side window, flooding the room with blinding white light. The resistance collapsed instantly. But the physical raids only exposed the surface. Files seized from Hassan's office revealed something far worse. A list of names that stunned even veteran agents. These weren't criminals. They were the guardians of the system. The ledger listed initials and numbers, tracking payments disguised as consulting fees and charitable donations. Investigators traced the money to a county judge who approved emergency medical transports without review. They followed transfers to a city health inspector who signed off on late-night shipments without ever inspecting their contents.
Every parent, every teacher, because this is targeted at kids.
Of a local police officer, agents discovered stacks of cash hidden in ceiling tiles, payment for erasing records from police databases. At a bank director's residence, they found safety deposit keys linked to offshore accounts used to launder cartel profits. Each person played a small role. Alone, their actions appeared minor. Together, they formed a shield that allowed a criminal empire to operate inside a hospital for 9 years. This was betrayal without noise. Corruption written in paperwork, stamped by officials and quietly filed away. By the second morning, the investigation no longer resembled a medical scandal. It looked like a systemic collapse. Ohio woke to flashing lights and circling helicopters. In towns across the state, the news hit like a natural disaster. Community centers filled with elderly residents clutching photographs of loved ones who had died in that hospital years earlier. In one town hall, a woman stood, hands shaking, holding a picture of her husband who had passed away 5 years before. She asked the question haunting everyone. He went in for a broken hip and never came out. Was it natural, or was he just a number in their ledger?
The DEA says that this is a deliberate ploy by the drug cartels to try to reach kids, to try to broaden their market.
A volunteer handed her a federal hotline number, but no one could give her the answer she needed. This wasn't fear of gang violence or street crime. It was something deeper, the realization that trusted professionals, people with clean coats, badges, and degrees, had chosen profit over duty. Hospitals are sacred places. They are where we go at our most vulnerable. We trust doctors with our lives. We trust nurses with our children. Learning that one of these places was used to destroy life feels impossible. It leaves a wound on the community that may never fully heal. The governor held an emergency press conference, announcing a statewide review of every death certificate issued by the facility over the past decade. He promised transparency. He promised justice. But for the families, reviews weren't enough. They wanted the truth. This raid proved the war on drugs isn't just fought at the border. It's fought in our cities, our courtrooms, our law firms, and now our hospitals. The enemy adapts. They wear whatever uniform allows them to operate. But it also proved that American justice is relentless. The FBI and DA didn't care about reputation or political connections. They followed the evidence. They kicked down doors. They shut down a machine that had been turning patients into profit.
Yeah, Dan, in the battle against the fentanyl crisis, the Drug Enforcement Agency says it's taking a win while also sending a warning.
Now the question turns to punishment. These individuals used positions of absolute trust to commit crimes of absolute evil. Do you believe doctors and hospital administrators who traffic drugs and harvest organs should face the death penalty, or is life in prison enough? Comment maximum penalty below. Stay vigilant.